And welcome back to Ship of Fools, a nautical D&D actual play podcast. My name is Hannah McLean, and I am your dungeon master here on this nautical adventure. Joining me today, I have Andy Latai.
Finn Fisher.
No, Lonnie Stevenson.
Oh, Regin Stockweather.
And Taylor Wallace.
Malachi Kasir.
And we are back here in the Lunluma Ocean for episode 20. Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Oh,
dang,
I
guys.
so.
The big
Happy
two.
anniversary, guys.
Only one more till we can drink booze.
Wow.
Or lemonade.
Great. So before we get into it, let's do a quick recap. So, last session started on Captain Nira Kasir's ship, the Lost Crystal, where you guys got your nails painted, briefly FaceTimed with Nell, and set up a Plan B rendezvous since you got a little waylaid on your way to the first one, made some heist plans, and Malachi and Nira did a little bit of sibling bonding. You then got to Benswith.
You can call it that.
Yeah, you tried. There was an attempt. You then got to Benswith and made your way to the Crimson Call, the very smoky tavern across from Solaris' house, where you did some recon and tried not to get noticed. Finally, once Solaris went to bed, Finn made use of spider climb to sneak in a window, do some light reading while trying to figure out how to get past an arcane glyph guarding the cube, and eventually ended up just dumping the treasure chest upside down, setting off a very loud explosion of damage. Fortunately, Finn beat Solaris on initiative, and was thus able to escape with a small model ship, several books, and the cube, leaving behind a decoy. The last thing that you guys saw was Solaris teleporting out of his house down to the street. You managed to kind of hit the deck up there on the roof, and Finn went in a window and convinced the people inside that he was the ambassador and that they should... I don't even know what.
Interpreter for the ambassador.
That they needed to be
of course.
quiet.
That this is official parliamentary business.
And so the last thing you guys saw... So the situation...
Who's Parliament? Who knows?
The situation we find ourselves in as we're picking up here is that Finn is inside a room of the inn with two people sitting up in bed and saluting. And Regin and Malachi are lying flat on the roof watching Solaris kind of stalk down the street, kind of in the direction of the main town. It is approximately 3 a.m. What do you guys
bong,
do?
Please,
three bong. It is approximately 3 bong. How would you guys like to proceed?
At ease, gentlemen!
The man kind of nods, and he's like, "Of course, Ambassador. What are you? What? You came in through the window."
That's right!
Your powers of observation are unparalleled.
Is something going on?
Oh yes, nothing you need worry about. I just need to hide in here for a little bit.
Oh, okay. The woman like jumps out of the bed and kind of like opens the closet, and she's like, "You can get in there. There's like plenty of room for you."
Thank you very much.
No problem. We're happy to help. She closes the door behind you. You and Nurgle are in the closet.
The ambassador says he is very grateful.
Up on the roof, I peek over the roof ledge a tiny bit to see if Solaris is, like, out of sight.
Yeah, you watch as he kind of, like, his robes, like, waving behind him, he kind of, like, whisks around the corner toward the center of town.
Okay. I grab Regin by the collar of his shirt and I start, like, army crawling forward towards the edge of the roof.
Okay, so you guys...
Oh, what are we doing? Why are we going over here?
Shh.
You guys climb down off the roof?
I want to follow whatever direction Finn went.
Okay, are you going in through the window, or are you just going to climb down into the alley?
I think, well, if we went down into the alley, is he far enough down that he wouldn't see us?
Solaris? Yeah, he's gone away at this point.
Did we see Finn go in through the window?
I think you saw Finn go over the side of the roof.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like you probably could tell, because then Nurgle followed him through the window, and he's clearly not in the alleyway, so...
Okay.
Is it possible, Hannah, to, like, roll insight, I guess, to see either where Solaris is going or why he's going there?
I mean, I assume he's
Probably because he just got robbed.
chasing the ship.
Well, right,
Yeah.
but I wanna know if he knows that it's the cube that got taken, as opposed to just the ship.
Go ahead and roll an insight check. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that specific, but you might be able to get a sense of
So that is a 4. That comes to a 6. So I will say it for you that I have no idea.
Yeah, you don't. Could be anything.
Just
Regin's like, hey, who's that guy walking down the street?
oh, give me a Vegemite sandwich. But no, because I don't want us in game. Like, I don't want us to panic, assuming that he knows that it was the cube when, to a cursory examination.
Regin, who has been panicked this entire time.
I don't want to go back to jail, man.
Stop talking about jail. People are going to think you're suspicious.
I want to Batman jump off the roof again and re-enter the bar very casually from the front door.
Yeah, you can do that.
Regin!
You jump off.
Okay, I follow Regin down.
Okay. You guys both jump off the inn, head back into the Crimson Call. Still a couple people brooding. Everyone else has kind of gone up to a room, presumably. No sign of Finn. But you guys are in here. A couple people kind of seem to clock your entrance like they have every time, but you're not sure. You don't feel like you were suspicious or anything.
Shit, we should have gone in through the window. We saw him go in through the window. Is there like a desk?
Yeah, there's
like a concierge or something?
There's
In this shady ass bar.
I couldn't think of the word. An innkeeper.
an innkeeper. Yeah, there isn't a concierge.
A bellhop.
But there is someone who seems to be working the night shift behind the bar.
All right. I ask for a room for 2.
Right? The bartender, who is equally kind of shady and grizzled looking, kind of looks at you and is like, the night's half past, but sure. And says that it's
Half past for some.
he says that it's 1 gold for a room.
I stick my hand real shady down my shirt and take a gold out of my cracks.
Great.
And hand it to him.
He takes it and gives you the keys to a room upstairs.
Can I want to see if any of the shady characters in this establishment might know offense.
What?
Or are offense themselves.
Oh, no offense.
No
Got
offense,
it.
but what?
Yeah, that's I was fully waiting for her to finish her sentence.
Offense?
Someone who could sell something.
Like somebody who fences stolen goods.
So are you gonna start walking around and talking to people?
Someone who stabs stolen goods with an epee.
Not in a, hey, how you doing kind of way, but I want to use my inherent shadiness to, see if I can clock somebody with equitable shadiness. Potentially.
Okay. I will say first, make me an insight check.
Jesus, that's another 4.
Then it is impossible for you to tell how many of the people in this bar are actually shady characters versus how many are just vibing.
Okay, I'm going to choose the person who is furthest. No, I'm going to choose the person who is at the halfway point between the back and the front of the establishment.
Great. You walk up to them. It's this woman who looks like she was half asleep. And she kind of looks up at you sort of bleary-eyed as you kind of approach. And she's like, yes?
I gotta see a man about a dog. A very expensive dog. And I was wondering if you might happen to know where a guy can get something hot off his hands around here.
I'm going to roll. Okay. She kind of squints her eyes a little and she's like, I might know a couple people, but not at 3 bong when you're just approaching a random person in a bar in the middle of the night.
Regin, this is so suspicious. Immediately after a robbery across the street.
They don't know that it was a robbery across the street.
There was that big boom.
Regin, you don't even have any stolen goods. I have the stolen goods upstairs.
I know you have the stolen goods. My line of thinking is that if we can flip the stolen ship and get ourselves a different ship, that Solaris won't be like, yeah, that's the ship that somebody stole.
Yeah, but our ship is... Well, I think our ship is magical. I guess we don't actually know
I think
that
our
for
ship
a fact.
is cool. Well, also,
But it's very convenient for traveling.
if Solaris doesn't travel a lot, which he very well might, but I assumed we were gonna hop onto Nira's ship and like zip off onto our own new ship in the middle of the ocean, not right out of the harbor.
Yeah. Maybe Nira can, like, switch out the plates.
Untraceable.
I guess.
But your feelings are valid, and if you can figure it out, that'd be fine.
I want this to be a welcoming space for whatever you want to do with stolen goods, no money.
I'm gonna look at her and be kind of like, oh my god, is it 3 bong already? And then just turn around and leave.
Great.
You can come find her in the morning once you actually get the ship.
Make me a persuasion check just to kind of like get her general how she's feeling about you as you leave.
So that was a fucking 22.
Okay, yeah, as expected. Yeah, she kind of like laughs a little bit as you walk away, and you get the sense that like if you did decide to pursue this plan again, you could probably come look for her, and she might actually know something. It was just very shady, and you don't actually have the stolen goods on you. But
Classic.
you guys go up to your room. Finn, how long do you stay hiding in the closet?
I don't know. I lean over to Nurgle and I'm like, hey, do you think we're good? How long do we need to stay here?
As I grab Regin and we walk up, I want to say, can you still talk to Finn?
Yeah. He, like, really clearly doesn't want to.
Wow, okay, rude.
Will you have to, like, cast it again, or do you still, like, have it up?
It can just happen whenever
It's a cantrip,
I
right?
want it to happen.
So my cantrip is telling Regin to use his cantrip now, too.
I don't...
Yeah, you can cast this spell through solid objects if you are familiar with the target and know it is beyond the barrier. So yes, you don't need to have line of sight on him or anything, as long as he's within 30 feet, or 120 feet.
Well, where is he?
You seriously want me to do it again?
Regin, you can cry about it later, but we need to know where Finn is right now.
Wow, okay, bitch.
That was harsher than I meant. Oh my god.
Regin looks like a kicked puppy, but he pings Finn.
Sorry, I didn't mean it.
Okay.
Fishy boy, where you at?
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep. It was really dark in here.
Oh.
Very comfy.
Good morning. You in the closet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, are you here too?
No.
Where is I?
Oh, I'm in your head.
Regin,
Oh.
I've been in closets before, though.
Oh, that's cool.
Is he?
where is he?
Oh, he's in a closet.
It's dark.
Oh, he says it's dark.
Tell him. Does he know he's on the top floor, right? Did he leave the top floor?
He's in a closet. I assume it's the closet. It could be any closet. Should I just...
Hannah, how many floors are there?
2.
Oh,
There's the main floor and then upstairs where the
Okay.
rooms are.
great. I'm picturing like an LA apartment building for no reason at all.
Stop doing that.
Okay. Tell him to leave the closet and come out into the hallway.
Okay, Malachi says to come out of the closet.
All right.
Right. You know what I meant.
And into the hallway. Specifically.
All right, you've lost me with this analogy at this point, Regin.
It's just what he's saying.
Hannah, what room number are we?
21.
All right. Tell him to come to room 21. And I open room 21 and I go into room 21.
Great.
Come into room 21. We're in room 21, but there's only one bed.
Well, dibs.
I did ask for a 2-person room.
All right, so I open up the closet door. What are my friends doing?
They're both kind of like, you see that the woman is like at the door, like clearly like listening, and the man is at the window, kind of like he's like kneeling down next to it, like surreptitiously looking out.
Finn, you should get their card before you go.
Friends, do not worry. The danger has passed.
Oh, thank goodness.
And believe me, your service will not be forgotten.
Thank you.
And I hand them one of my little carved triangles.
Aww.
If you should ever need aid from my office.
Do what?
How do you contact
I don't know. Present that to somebody.
Oh,
Bye!
Okay. Nurgle, like, stands on your shoulder and gives a very courteous bow. And the door closes behind you. Yeah, and you guys all reconvene in room 21 with the cube and the ship and yeah.
Hello, friends. Sorry about that. Sometimes it gets stuck, you know. Hey guys.
When Finn opens the door, I grab him, pull him in, shut the door, and immediately I'm making sure he's okay because of that whole everything. Are you good?
Oh, I'm fine. Actually, no. I'm not fine. I'm pretty damaged.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, I lay hands on Finn. How many do you need?
Hey, watch the merchandise, buddy. I'm down 14.
You can have all of 14.
Woohoo.
I'm gonna take a nap. And Regin
It's
just
3
goes,
a.m. I don't think that's a nap.
I go
That's just going to
face
sleep.
down into the bed.
Can we do like shifts or something?
It's up to you. I'm taking a nap.
All right, Reagan
Get us asleep.
I'll take first watch, I guess. I'll sit by the door so you guys can have the bed.
Okay.
We definitely should have talked before Reagan took his nap, but that's fine.
You can talk in the morning, I guess.
But he just looks so angelic now.
Drool coming out of his mouth.
Where else would it be coming out of?
You guys take a long rest. Malachi takes first watch. Malachi, go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
15.
15? Okay. I'm going to say with a 15, you do hear, because you're kind of like listening for it, when Solaris comes back to the... Would you have intentionally tried to get a room with like a window on the side where you can see out? Or are you kind of like further away?
I think we just took what room was given to us.
Okay, I'm going to roll a d20 then. Okay. You don't have a window on this side, but you kind of like hear footsteps in the alleyway, and it sounds like just one person. And you hear kind of a door that you're pretty sure is the door to Solaris's place open.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't hear any more noise. There isn't like a sudden like rushing of guards or anything like that. There's just kind of like, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. You guys take shifts throughout the night, and come to wake up kind of in the like mid-morning. So you got your long rest. You all have your spell slots and your hit points back. The sun has fully risen. The tavern is still as quiet as it ever is. But you guys are in this room, feeling rested.
All right, so we can go meet back up with Nira.
I think we need to be careful about this. We probably should have left in the middle of the night, but we were tired, so we need to get out of here without Solaris seeing us.
Just go out the back door.
Is there a back door?
There's always a back door.
Hannah?
There's a window. There's probably, you assume that you could go out through the kitchen. There would probably be a back door.
Oh, guys, we can just go out through the window. I can walk down walls, remember?
Can he still do that? I don't think he can he?
You might as well try.
I don't realize that it's run out, and I like
Oh, no.
start to open the window and climb out.
No,
I let it happen.
I don't. I think before we go anywhere, Finn, what did you take?
Nothing. I just sat in the closet for a little bit. I left all their clothes and stuff alone.
No. Oh, okay. We're not gonna... You just sat in somebody's closet?
Yeah. Oh, they were really nice about it. I deputized them.
You don't... You have no authority.
Yeah, I don't, but Nurgle does.
Okay, fine. You know, Finn, what did you take from Solaris?
Oh. I take out the stuff. I got the cube, I got these books, and I got this cool ship. I figure we can maybe put it in a bottle. It'll look nice on the mantelpiece.
We have a mantelpiece?
Someday.
What books did he take again?
He took the one about the lurker and the random one about, like, Abhan.
Okay. Can I investigate the little ship?
Yeah, make an Arcana check.
9.
9. I think, looking at it, like Finn was able to, you can tell that it's, like, it's very intricately carved. Like, either this was done by just, like, an extremely masterful hand, or it looks like some of the details almost look, like, too intricate to the point where you're like, that was, like, you shouldn't be able to achieve that level of detail on something so small. It's that kind of sense.
Finn, this is expert work. Is this with the cube?
Oh, yeah. I had a great Arcana check last night. I think it'll grow. You know, just add water.
I, like, take a glass of water from the knife.
Don't do it inside.
Okay.
Malachi, you gotta stop just pouring water on every magic thing we find.
What? When have I ever done that?
You did it when we found the dolls of ourselves.
No, I didn't pour water on those. I dunked my doll in the water to make sure that Lizzie's not trying to.
Oh, you're right. No, that was totally different. And no, Finn is sincere. He's not being sarcastic when he says that. That is just a totally separate thing.
All right. But we have the cube. That's the important thing. And he didn't see you, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I was really stealthy.
Yeah. Good work, kid. Is Regin like awake?
If he's awake, he's not exactly cogent.
Okay.
But actually, Hannah, can I grab the book about Abhen?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to look for a certain crest, a certain symbol
When I see Regin touch the book, I look shocked.
that maybe matches another symbol.
Regin, I thought you
Yeah.
didn't know how to read.
Welcome to Ship of Fools, 3 houses.
So Reagan's been quiet because he's sitting on the edge of the bed, paging through this random, like, elven history book.
Regin, it's not a picture book.
Okay, I can read like sometimes. We've established this.
Make an investigation check for me.
That is a 19.
19. Okay. You flip through a few pages. It's pretty, elves aren't exactly, like, they don't really write. Their lifespans are so long that, like, they feel like they have way more time to do everything than the rest of everybody else. So they, like, write in, like, their sentences are so long and, like, they go on for ages.
That's why it's the worst when they're in front of you at the deli.
J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, they go on for ages about, like, small details because they're, like, the print is, like, really tiny. But amongst kind of the different amounts of history, you do find that there is a section where there's kind of, like, detailing, like, the history of some of the noble families, from Avon. And you find, the particular symbol that you're looking for.
Cool.
Anything.
I decided I want to keep this book.
Great.
When Regin closes the book, I want to ask, did you find something?
Yeah.
He found the magic of reading.
Care to share with the rest of the bench, Regin?
Dude, I'm just having a moment over here. And I, like, flip the book to show you what I'm looking at, which is a page with the same symbol as my tattoo.
Hold on.
Oh my god, someone shot that illustration with an arrow.
I thought you're half dwarf, not half elf.
Yeah, I think. Last time, frankly, actually, that's a good question. I can't, like, prove that.
We can deal with this later.
Wow, what a wild coincidence.
Anyways,
Oh god. There's too much going on. We need to go find my sister and get out of this town.
aye.
Yep, let's go.
My minor illusion, my disguise back on.
I ripped the page out of the book and hand the book back to Finn.
That was not necessary.
Well, I think it was.
Great.
Well, agree to disagree.
So are you guys trying to, like, are you gonna walk out the front door, walk out the back door, go out the window? Are you trying to, like, be shady? Are you trying to, like, lean on your disguises again? What's the plan?
Okay, I am going to don my disguise again. And honestly, I'm wondering if it would be shadier for us to leave out a back door, or if we should just, like, go out in disguise through the front. I don't know.
Well, he hasn't seen us either way.
Not this time round, yeah.
And, I mean, what are we expecting? That he's just, like, sitting at his front door, like, staring at the bar across the street?
Right.
Assuming, yeah. Nah, we could just
I
go.
think it'd be less suspicious to go out the front, honestly.
Let's just get the hell out of here as fast as possible.
Cool.
I think we should stagger it, though.
All right, if you insist. And I walk towards the door, but I'm, like, staggering and stumbling, like, really drunkenly.
He'd never suspect that to be
Are you
Finn.
doing an impression of me?
I don't see how this is going to help, but
He's doing a bit. He's doing an impression. That's rude. I mean, you're doing a good job, but stop. I'm sensitive.
Okay.
no, this is my impression of you. And I just start scratching my skin all over. Oh no, I wish I had some lotion.
I punch Finn in the face.
Great.
Great for the
I
disguise.
dodge it.
Okay. roll an attack roll, because Finn is trying to dodge.
Nat 1.
You go to swing, Finn, like, drunkenly staggers out of the way just in time, and your fist kind of goes wide. But the point is made. And you guys leave the bar one at a time, just kind of casually walking.
I walk with a noble, dignified bearing,
Yes.
as befits the interpreter of an ambassador.
Of course. Cool. You guys leave. You don't, go ahead and each of you make me a perception check as you're leaving.
Nat 20.
Nat 20!
Whoa!
That one!
What an iconic set of rules. This is gonna be not live up to that. So Malachi, you're so focused on like trying to act casual that you're like not really paying attention to your surroundings. Plus you've like got a lot to think about, so you're kind of musing it over.
I'm like muttering plans to myself under my breath as I walk, but I'm also like trying really hard to be nonchalant.
So you don't see absolutely anything as you're walking. The two of you, wow, okay, 2 nat 20s. So, Finn, you go out first, and you kind of clock that, that the window which you went through last night is like, there's like been something placed against it now. Like clearly Solaris kind of like could tell that that's where you got in and that he's sort of like is taking guards against it. But it doesn't seem to be like, other than that, like there doesn't seem to be that much kind of going on. Regin, you notice that there's an increased guard presence kind of in the area. But I will say, with 2 nat 20s, both of you pick up on that Solaris's house is, like, silent. Like, it is not that, just that, like, nothing's going on. It, like, as you walk past, both of you kind of individually are sort of like, oh, I don't think there's anybody in there. And almost like all the lights are off and everything. Like,
Wow, he's a late sleeper.
somebody's left. Yeah, but there is an increased guard presence kind of in the area. Clearly, people have been like put on alert. But Benswith is a little bit like, if you're gonna rob someone, Benswith isn't a bad place to do it because they don't have much.
Port cities, man.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it seems like maybe Solaris went to report the theft and they were like, what can you do? But we'll send a few people to look around. Is kind of the general sense that you guys get from the area. Cool. So you guys head back to Nira's ship, kind of one by one, kind of like Finn first, and then Malachi, and then Regin a few minutes later. It's kind of like most of the crew is still kind of around. You see that like Salt and Pepper are like both sitting outside this like, this cafe that's kind of like close to the docks having breakfast basically. And they're just kind of like sitting there. And they wave to you, Malachi, as you kind of come past. It seems like Finn's ambassador disguise was managing to pass him off pretty well. But you, see that most of the crew is either like on the ship or generally around. And Nira is like there on the deck of the ship as you guys come up, and she sort of sees you and she's like, oh, okay, great. Hey, you guys are back. I was wondering, it's kind of like it's closing in on noon here.
Yeah.
We had to take a little me time. You know how it is.
Yeah, sure. How'd it go?
Success.
Oh, great. I was on the ceiling.
Shh.
Awesome. Let's maybe keep it down a little bit until we're, like,
Yeah.
out of here. 'Cause he definitely did. Did you, like, I thought we were leaving a decoy so that hopefully he wouldn't notice anything happened.
We did.
Yeah, we did, but I might have taken some other stuff.
She,
I'll tell you later.
she, like, holds up a hand for a high five.
I high-five her.
I
like-
shake my head.
Opportunist. That's what I like to hear. All right, yeah.
Although I
Well,
did encourage him to take stuff. So
we'll take a little bit of, enough time's passed that it doesn't look super suspicious for us to be cutting out of here. So I'll send Vance around to get everybody back on the ship, and we'll leave in the next hour or so. No real reason to hang around here much longer anyway.
does Nira seem like on the level right now?
Make an insight check.
Well, that's only going to be a 9.
Okay. Yeah, she seems fine. She seems like she's a little bit, yeah, I don't think you'd really get anything with a 9. I think she seems about the same as she has.
Okay.
So you guys, get aboard the ship. Vance kind of like goes around and gets everybody from where they were sitting at cafes or talking to people or at shops or whatever else they were doing. And everybody gets back on the ship and kind of pulls all the ropes together, and the lost crystal glides away from Benswith. Nira kind of comes over to you guys once the city is...
Finn stands on the edge of the ship and, like, waves a handkerchief at the docks.
Make a performance check, Finn.
15.
One person waves back at you with a handkerchief. Yeah, and you... Nira comes over to you guys as Benswith is kind of fading behind the ship, and she goes... Okay. Great. That could have gone a lot worse. From what my men told me, Solaris came bustling up to the docks at approximately 3 bong in the morning, and started talking about how a ship had been stolen from him, and got a ship, like, registered a ship as stolen. And so that's kind of being passed around. Did you...
I look at Finn.
Let me answer that question with a question, Nira.
I didn't ask a question, but go on.
Well, it sounded like you were about to. Let me cut off that question with a question. You know how to change a VIN number on a ship? Swap out the license plates, switch the hubcaps?
A W-VIN.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It just kind of depends, like, how long you have, and I'm a little bit curious how you went into a man's house and stole a ship.
Let's just say magic.
You wouldn't download a ship.
Is a ever-present force in this world.
Her eyes, like, light up, and she's like...
Check this out! And I hold it out.
She, like, takes it very gently in her hands and looks at it, and she's like, oh, I've never seen one of these in person. Oh, man. And she, like, pulls out her spyglass and looks at it, and she's like, this is really fantastic and worth a lot of money and very useful.
Thanks.
Yeah, good find. I mean, you know, dang.
I'll sell it to you.
No. What?
She looks at you and she's kind of like...
It's mine.
First of all, it's Finn's, and second of all, I don't know if I carry that much golds around with me. I'd have to do some, liquidating of assets.
I'd sell it to you for this ship. And a little extra.
Again, he does not have the authority to do that.
We just switch ships.
And a little extra.
I don't know if that's a...
Well, this one does come with the baggage of being... officially registered as stolen and pretty recognizable.
But you said you could handle that, right?
I can handle it.
But that would put him directly onto Nira's back.
It would, but like I said, I've had worse enemies. Well, so here's the other thing about this ship. Actually.
I want to know the features of this little stolen ship first.
Okay, yeah, I just rolled a nat 1 for her. So she says, here's the other thing about this ship, and then she stops herself, and she's like, actually, alright, so we switch ships, I take this one, I kick you back a little extra gold as well. But you guys can all tell that, like, there's more there's something else about the ship that's special that she just suddenly was like, nope, if I don't tell them that, then I can get the better ship.
I sort of gingerly reach out and, like, take it back.
Okay. You take it back.
No, I don't want to put that on you.
Yeah. Fair. She crosses her arms and she kind of, like, looks around at the lost crystal and she's like, I mean, this one's got sentimental value for me anyway. She, like, pats the mast. And she's like...
I know how you feel. And I pat Regin.
I give Finn I'm not even sure what facial expression I'm making right now.
And she's like, all right, if you want, I can do some kind of basic... Honestly, the way that word travels from Benswith, it'll take a little bit. Like, you guys will... You have a bit of time before everyone kind of knows to be looking for this ship. If you head to somewhere like Angel Isle, like, they can get it cleaned up for you, no problem. I can do a couple of quick things that'll buy you some time. Otherwise, if you ask AAA, they might be able to help you out. Although I wouldn't tell the adventurer that you stole it, because she'll be all stuck up about that.
What? She doesn't like thieves?
She's not a huge fan of them, funnily enough. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Could we also get, like, a cool flame decal on the side?
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Flame decal's easy.
Maybe some art of like a wizard riding a dolphin.
Ooh. She says, yeah, I mean, I can do some... That's the great thing about a ship that, like, grows to huge size, is I can, like, paint it, like, just, like, with a tiny amount of paint, and then it'll grow and be painted, which is kind of fantastic. So I can do
Where's
a couple
Pepper?
things. Yeah, I'll talk to Pepper. We can get it fixed up in a couple of hours, but it'll still, I mean, that'll buy you some time, but, like, someone with a particularly sharp eye, or, like, Solaris himself is going to spot it right away, no problem.
Sure.
All right.
A little time's better than nothing.
It's a deal.
Okay, so...
Finn, you didn't make a deal.
It's a deal. I reach out to shake her hand.
She shakes your hand firmly, and she's like, pleasure doing business with you. So...
Now that's how you negotiate.
So, sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to ask what you guys are doing next. I mean, are you going?
Where are you? Where's the Lost Crystal headed?
The Lost Crystal's headed south to start with. I've got another job that I've got to do. Some people I met with, some things to get done. Down kind of by the edges of the lightless sea. I'm not going to sail right into the fog, but... Huh?
More cubes?
No, not cube related this time, although, I'm keeping an eye out for one, but...
Not spheres, is it?
No, although, don't even get me started on spheres.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because, yeah, sometimes. Just some,
Piracy.
pirate stuff. Yeah. So I'll be down there for a while. Basically the opposite direction of where you guys are going.
Yeah, I think we're gonna head to Red Feather Island, meet up with Nell, bring them the cube, see what's going on with the association and the adventurer. Apparently, I think we were supposed to meet the adventurer or something like that.
Yeah. No, good. I mean, yeah, good for you guys.
Speaking of the cube and stuff like that, not to be that guy, but as Regin might ask, where's our cut?
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, that was crass.
She reaches into her pocket and she pulls out the little bag of gold that she was given, and she was like, so I got I figure the 100 gold bonus that Solaris gave me for no reason really belongs to you guys, because he thinks that I killed you or something to get the cube. So I figure that since I didn't, since you really just nicely handed it to me, I'd just give you that. And she, counts out and hands over 100 gold to you guys.
So that's... Okay, so Finn gets 33, I get 33, Regin gets 23 this time. I only take a third of your cut instead of half.
And Nurgle gets 1.
Nurgle tucks it away in his feathers. Yeah, so you guys get your gold, you have your cube, you have this, you give the little ship to Nira, and she kind of, takes it into her workshop and does, a few more kind of, still just, having the time of her life, being able to, hold this extremely magical object and kind of, play with it and stuff like that. She's, like a kid in a candy shop. And she kind of says to you guys, she hands it back to you. She's like, is there any particular, like, I know you said like a flame decal on the side. Anything,
maybe something a little more subtle.
Other modifications? No, I think the flame decal is great because like right now, Solaris is like, you know, he's a little bit of like a classy guy. So this is all like gilded and like the furniture's really expensive and stuff like that. If I put a flame decal on the side, like he might not even recognize it himself.
That's fair. Okay.
Trash it. Just trash it.
Yeah, he could never be that sick.
Just as tacky as possible. Got it.
Is there any cool magic stuff that you can do to it?
Depends. Not really with the scope of time that I have, but let me tell you, it already has a couple of cool magic things to it. So the way it's going to work, once you're ready, just throw it into a body of water that's big enough to hold it and say the command word, which is solstice right now. You can change it if you want. So throw it into the water, say solstice, and it'll, grow to large size. And it is, you don't need a crew. Normally you couldn't sail a ship like this without a crew. You need a captain. You need someone who's directed. It won't sail by itself. You can't, like, tell it to meet you somewhere or something like that.
I look at Regin.
I minor illusion a captain's hat on myself.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awkward.
So you need somebody who's, like, at the wheel and kind of directing it where to go, but, like, doing the rigging, getting the sails down, all that kind of stuff, the ship is going to do by itself.
What an incredibly convenient magical object to be acquired by 3 dudes.
It's like it was made for us.
Yeah, convenient indeed.
I like take my rock out of my pocket and say, thanks.
I lean over the side of the ship and yell down, "Thanks!"
Finn, a dolphin, like, breaches right next to the boat.
I high-five it.
Cool. You guys, yes, she's like, yeah, so that's what that'll do. And it looks different enough now. I mean, and especially if you stay, like, away from, like, big population hubs, you'll be all good. It's just a matter of, like, once you start going to cities and stuff again.
What do we got on there for weaponry and surf boats? Do we have a rowboat on there? Something small? And do we have guns?
Rowboat, yes. Guns, no.
Guns, you?
It looks like it's kind of like a...
Hold on, do guns exist?
No, guns in the sense of ballistas.
Yeah, guns do not exist. Ballistas, no. The ship does not have weaponry. I think it was,
it's a fancy
Solaris
Solaris
was just going to shoot fire at anyone.
Oh my god, we just stole a millionaire's fucking yacht.
Yeah, you basically did.
Oh, man.
Oh god, it's a fucking yacht. Ew.
There's definitely some fluids on there.
Ew.
Can you blow dry this, Nira?
Nobody...
She goes on it.
Nobody get the ultraviolet light.
Hannah, the listeners could not see what you just did.
She blows on it herself. I realized that after I said it.
Oh god, it's an orgy ship.
I don't know if
Not anymore.
Solaris...
Never again.
Oh my god, do you think Nurgle had sex on this ship?
Oh,
Shut
God.
up. Finn has his hands over his ears.
Regin, don't antagonize him.
I'm genuinely curious. Sue me.
I'm not a lawyer. You know I didn't go to high school. It's very insensitive.
You have all my money in conservatorship.
Okay, so you guys, do you have any more business you want to do on the Lost Crystal before you kind of part ways?
Where's Vance?
Vance is on the ship, doing...
All right, I walk up to him. Hey.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too, kid. One last rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh man, every time you do that, man.
What can I say?
All right.
Finn, you're supposed to vary what you choose.
I like scissors. It just fits.
If you choose scissors every time, he's gonna remember.
And I go to shake hands with him.
He shakes your hand.
And as we do shake hands, I do that classy tipping thing where I slide a gold coin from my palm into his.
What is this relationship?
he takes the gold coin and he does that thing where he like flicks it through his fingers and he like winks at you.
Ooh, Vance. Vance just got hot again.
All right, bye. I walk away.
Bye.
While we're just sort of like sailing out to a place where we can like take off on our own. Well, some of it we can save for our own private ship, but we do have someone's card, right? Do we have contact information? I think we had Vance's card, right?
I think Vance threw you like a...
Or we have Vance's number.
When it was possible that you were going to run away during the battle, they gave you like the number for Vance's speaking stone, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
We can call it on our cloth.
It was a moment decision. I'm going to say that Nira actually is going to kind of like take you aside, Malachi. And she'll be like, hey, did the association give you one of those, like, cloth things that can, like, make calls?
Cloth. Oh, this? And I pull it out of my pocket and instantly fumble it and it drops open on the ground again and I, like, snatch it up really hurriedly before I accidentally call now.
She laughs and she's like, yeah, that. If you let me, I can kind of connect it to the one that I've got. It's like I took it with me when I left. And then I could talk to you sometimes. At least, like, we're going to be pretty far away, and the range on these things isn't always the best, but... especially because I think I've got, like, an older model. Like, I think they've been tinkering with them since I left, and... but, you know, if you wanted. If you needed to talk to me, right? That'd be just fine. Just in case, yeah. Because why on earth would I want to talk to my long lost brother, who I haven't seen in a million years? Here, give it to me.
I look offended.
She takes it.
I don't catch the sarcasm.
You see her kind of like lay it out flat on the table next to hers, and she sort of like does some kind of like arcane like hand motions over both of them, and she's like, okay, yeah, these are connected now, so if you need to talk to me, just hold it up and say my name, and if I can answer, I'll answer.
Thanks, Nira.
Say my name, say my name.
I want to do something, but I don't know what.
Hug her.
God, Regin.
Regin and Finn are standing outside like Timon and Pumbaa watching through the window.
Regin just wants to be hugged.
All right.
I hug Regin.
Yeah, I thank her, and I kind of, I go for the shoulder pat, kind of, instead of the handshake this time. But as we get out to the part where we're gonna go our separate ways, I want to actually pull out that music box that I got a while ago, and sort of, like go up to Nira and say, I meant to, well, actually, I didn't even think about it before, but I picked this up last time we were in Benswith, and it reminded me of home, and I wanted to see if you... I just opened the box.
As soon as you take the box out, you see her eyes kind of, like, go soft, and she, like, takes it from you as you open it, and, like, the little song starts to play, and she's like, I sold this in Benswith, like, way back near the beginning of everything. I had brought it with me from home out of, I don't know, some kind of sentimentality or something, and we needed cash, and I didn't want it anymore.
This was yours?
I'm amazed it was still there. Yeah, it was mine.
The song, I remembered the song from somewhere. I remembered you, but I didn't know it was actually, I just thought it was like a song that I knew in childhood. I didn't know it was yours.
No, it was mine.
Oh, then, I mean, you can have it back if you wanted, but maybe, could I keep it then?
She nods and she's like, yeah, I think you can keep it, and if you don't want it, you can give it to me next time I see you. And she's just gonna pull you into a hug.
Okay, I let it happen. I kind of like...
Made myself get choked up there.
I kind of like pat her on the back a little bit.
Yeah,
and like rest my chin on her head.
She's quite a bit shorter than you, and she kind of like tucks her head into your chest. And you take the music box and you put it back in your bag.
My sister.
The whole crew is kind of like excited to see this ship turn into a big ship. So everyone kind of like gathers around on the deck. And are you guys gonna just, Nira's like, as she kind of like pulls away from Malachi and like blinks her eyes really fast. She's kind of like, yeah, so, you just kind of like...
You get something in your eye?
No, I'm good. So you kind of just like chuck the model ship out there like as far as you can and say solstice and it'll turn into a ship.
Hold on, how do we get onto it?
Well, then you get onto it like you get onto any ship. A rope will come down, I assume, because of the, like, invisible thing where it can propel itself. And then you can get onto it.
Okay.
All right. I do it.
Cool. You take the ship in your hand, you throw it, you yell solstice.
Solstice!
And as the little model, for a second, it just, like, falls. And you see it splash in the water. And there's, like, a couple seconds of silence, and Mira's like... It's gonna work, and then the ship like balloons up with this big splash of water as it appears right there, and there are now two ships in the middle of the water here.
It's so
you guys
beautiful
can see,
and cinematic.
Yeah, so it is this absolutely gorgeous, high-class ship. All
with
kind
flames
of
on
like,
the sides.
Yep, and then there's a big, like, flame decal painted on the side, like, much large, like, the proportions are slightly off, because it was painted on the ship when it was so small. Completely clashes with all of the, like, gilding and the, like, white paint and stuff like that. You see that the ship is called the Glimmer. Painted on the side.
We're renaming it.
And
Yeah, we gotta change some things.
as you guys are standing on the Lost Crystal, you can see the kind of like sails unfurling and the ropes being lowered and stuff like that. And Vance kind of comes up behind you guys and is like, well, you want me to take you over on a rowboat? Just like
Yeah.
3 days ago or whenever it was?
It would be an honor.
Great.
Thanks, Vance.
Vance takes you guys across and you get
Hang
onto...
on, before I go.
Yes?
I want to bless Nira. I forgot to do that when she hugged me. Can I say I did it when she hugged me?
Yes, when she
Okay.
hugged you, you cast Bless. And she kind of like looks at you and she's like...
She didn't know I was magic.
She's like, could you always do this?
Nope. I can do it now.
He just gives incredible hugs.
Good for you. That was a great hug. I feel like I should go do some tinkering in the next approximately 1 minute. And, so you guys say your goodbyes to Nira and the rest of the crew, and Vance rows you across to your own ship.
I gotta look really apologetic at Nira and then be like, bye.
Bye.
And then I leave. You just start swimming.
You don't even ask for a rain check.
And you guys go over to your own ship, and you can see that indeed, like, it is, so, first of all, yeah, no weapons to speak of, very few supplies. It's smaller than the Lost Crystal, and it is, seems like it's going to be a little bit slower, but the Lost Crystal is an exceptionally fast ship. It's just kind of like the speed of a normal ship. You see that it is, very fancy and not necessarily super functional or practical. And you guys, what do you do?
I think we're alone now.
All right. Malachi, you know how to drive, right?
Oh, not sea vessels. Regin.
Man, it's too bad none of us have sailing experience.
Regin, you
Oh,
good?
yeah!
Reagan's... He's, like, kind of, like, in a bit of a trance, like, on the ship. And just, like, looking around and standing in front of the wheel. Just kind of, like, you know, like, having a moment. Like,
Can we have a cute little
Oh,
montage
shit.
about running around the whole ship and checking out all the rooms and finding all these cool little things about it? And just really excitedly flopping on the beds in the quarters.
Yep.
That's what Malachi's doing.
You find that there's like there's not very much on the ship, but there are like a couple of different cabins that look like they could be for like guests and stuff like that, and then also the captain's cabin, which it looks like Solaris usually stays in when he's on this
Dibs.
ship.
Ew.
And there's a few kind of like changes of clothes and kind of some like basic stuff in each of those. And then in Solaris's cabin, there's a few kind of like maps and nautical tools and kind of like captain's sailing stuff like that, but not much, along with just like a few books of like various interests and some like novels and stuff like that.
Is there wine?
There is some wine, and there's like a little bit of kind of like dry rations on here, as well as like a decent amount of alcohol. And
Orgy art, what did I tell you?
some drinking water also. And you guys, Regin, you take the wheel, which is an interesting feeling. You distinctly, Malachi and Finn are like both like below decks exploring the cabin, so you're left on this kind of like empty deck, but you can see the like, it's a little bit unsettling.
It has a bidet!
Like there's in...
Malachi shouts back from like the other hallway over, "A what?"
It's almost a little unsettling.
Just come try it out!
I try it out, and after I try it out, I go, I don't need this. And then I just walk out of the room.
You know, in retrospect, it makes sense. Shouldn't have expected you to be excited about it.
Okay, sorry, Hannah. Have your beautiful Regin moment for us.
Thank you. You're standing alone on the ship, but you can see the kind of like movement of the riggings and the sails and stuff like that, like as if there's people there, but there isn't anyone there. It's just the wind. And you're standing here and like you put your hands on the wheel and you're like, this is my ship, sort of. I didn't steal it, but I am here at the head of this ship, and I can direct it to go wherever I want it to go. And you take the wheel in your hands, and you set a course for somewhere.
Hey, Regin, dude, you've got to try this.
What, the really small water fountain?
Yeah. Sure.
I'm not that short. All right, boys.
It's in the toilet, Regin. Don't drink out of it.
Malachi, I think it's better if he doesn't know.
So, first and foremost, I want to talk directly to the ship, and I'm going to be like, I don't trust you, but we're going to make this work. You know, like the classic horse girl montage. Except it's Regin trying to tame a
yacht.
magic ship.
And I whisper to the ship, don't worry, he says that to literally everyone he meets.
So, boys, we got two options. Either I can take a blowtorch to this thing myself, and we can try and scrub some of the more, suspect bits of it, and then we can head straight to Red Feather, and I'll do whatever. Or we could go to Angel Isle and get her fixed up there.
Well, I have two questions. One, can you do that?
Do blowtorches exist?
Do you have the requisite skills
To do what?
to fix up the ship so it's not traceable?
I mean, it's kind of the opposite of fixing. It would be a lot of hacking things off and scrubbing the name off and making you attract a bunch of barnacles to come sit on the sides of it so it looks old and gross.
I can do that.
Right.
Nell sounded like they only had a short window for us to meet them in. So, well, I do think that we need to fix the ship up or down. I think we need to go to Red Feather first.
Works for me. And I set a course to Red Feather Island.
Awesome.
I instantly send out the barnacle signal.
You send out a barnacle signal. Barnacles are not much for conversation, but you send out a kind of like request for them to come to the ship, and you get a general like, okay.
Barnacles love surfaces.
They sure do. And much quicker than would normally happen, the bottom of the ship starts getting coated with barnacles and with other kind of like sea crustaceans and stuff like that. So you guys are on your ship heading in the direction of Red Feather Island. Once again, it is going to take a couple of days to get there because it took you about a day and a half to like get from where you were, and you're sort of going diagonal now because you're going, instead of going straight to Dermator, you're kind of going like out
Right.
east a little bit but further north. So it'll take you a couple of days that you guys kind of have on this ship to settle in. Do you have any?
So we should rename it, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What do you think of Nurgle?
No.
We've already
Okay.
used that.
Oh my god, you're right. I
It
forgot.
would be confusing.
Yeah.
I think we should wait until it's in its final mode of appearance before we name it.
Sure.
But isn't the name sort of the most suspicious and identifiable part
I mean, we don't
of
have
a
to
ship?
call it the Glimmer.
It's like written on the side.
God, I hate
We
saying
can-
that.
We could change that.
Hot Rod. No, that's not right.
That's true. I guess that is a blowtorch situation.
Blowtorch. Did you just say hot rod?
No.
Get off my
No.
ship. Get off. Walk the plank, Malachi.
My ship.
Listen, he was in the car insurance business.
God, I've always wanted to say that. I'm going to just like tie a rope off and dangle off the side and go
What?
at the paint with some sandpaper.
I thought you were just like chilling, and I was like, okay.
He's just chilling too, feeling the salt air. But yeah, you scrub off the name The Glimmer, and it just doesn't have a name now.
A ship with no name.
Well, he's dangling down there. I lean over to Finn, and I'm like, does he seem okay to you?
He seems weirdly chipper.
I mean, like that's not normal Regin, right?
Right. I'm worried about him. He seems too happy.
Well, he did use a lot of magic. Maybe it messed up his brain.
Oh, that's possible.
Does magic do
Oh
that?
god. Did you see how much he was smiling up at the wheel? I'm really worried about him.
Finn and I just like continue to whisper to each other, like back and forth, staring down at Regin from the railing.
I finally climb back out. I'm like, what?
Hi, Regin.
Hello, Malachi.
Oh, nothing. You just
What? I didn't ask you a question.
what? Malachi walks away.
Great. The ship is big enough that you guys are able to get away from each other, although it is just the three of you.
I lean
on this
into
ship.
Finn and I'm like, does Malachi seem weird to you?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was looking at his skin the other day. I think it's like made of rock.
No shit.
Yeah.
Finn, question for you. Have you actually noticed what my skin is made of?
Flesh. And honestly, I gotta say, too many dry flakes.
Finn, touch it. Touch the flakes. They're not flakes.
Oh, listen,
fuck?
Regin, I gotta be honest. I
Just
gotta level with
touch
you
it,
here. You
Finn.
know, I like you. We're friends, but
They're fucking scales, Finn.
what? I touch it.
Make a perception check.
19.
19?
Ooh.
Yeah, especially now that he's said it, and especially kind of like on like the insides of his arms and like parts that you wouldn't normally, that you're not just like staring at, so it's not super noticeable if you don't know how to look for it. But distinctly, Regin's skin is these sort of like, in places there's this layer of like reptilian scales that are a sort of...
Oh my god. Regin, are you a lizard folk?
I can't. I mean, maybe by some definitions of it.
As Finn is touching Regin's scales, I storm up out of the bunks below. Finn,
It's not what it
did
looks
you
like!
summon the barnacles into the bedroom?
Maybe. I admit my instructions were a little
I
ambiguous.
stopped at what are you doing?
He's feeling
Just hanging
me.
out.
I am being felt.
Regin, bare-chested, has Finn like touching his scale.
We did specifically say that he's got a patch like right in the tramp stamp zone.
That's where the biggest, like, the most clear area is like your lower back.
Malachi just like,
Did you know Regin had scales?
I think I did.
They're a very pretty color.
Are they not just your skin color? What?
They're kind of like iridescent. They're kind of like greenish, goldish.
Ooh.
If they were just skin color, that would be very disturbing.
That'd be gross.
I'm like, so this is something that you're cool with now? I'm trying to suss out Regin's state of mind. Before he was very much hiding this. You've been using magic a lot recently.
I don't want to be, and I really wish I wasn't, because it feels really weird, but if life or death, whatever. If it has to be done, it has to be done.
I don't want to force you to use it if you really hate it, but I mean, this is dragon skills, right?
Yeah.
You have draconic ancestry?
I guess.
And I have pact magic.
Well, that is what my mother used to say, yes.
Your mother talked about my pact magic?
She did, yeah. She was a big fan of yours.
Oh my god. Are we all related? No, I mean, it's just... It seems like it shouldn't be hurting you if it's just kind of part of you, right? I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
Finn and I weren't born... Finn, you weren't born with magic, right?
Honestly, that's a hard question to answer.
Okay, fine.
I don't know.
I wasn't born with magic.
It's less about what it is than what I've seen it do that I have a problem with.
I know you've said that you have trouble controlling it, but you seemed to have a pretty good handle on it last night. I mean, we've seen you mishandle it before, but surely it's something that you're getting better at every time you use it, right?
I guess.
I mean, it's your power. You should use it.
It's just one of those things where if you've really, really messed up with something, you don't really want to keep doing it. And yeah, I mean, I have a pretty good handle on it when there's not other stuff happening, and I just don't like getting backed into corners.
I mean, you got us out of one last night, so...
Yeah, well, you're fucking welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks!
Not you.
We just stand there going, thank you, back and forth
No,
on
thank
deck
you.
for 5.
Does anybody else have anything specific they want to do as the ship approaches Red Feather Island?
Nah, just stare at Regin.
Great.
I'm going to continue, exfoliating this ship and, getting the gold off of it and just generally trying to trash the place.
Fantastic. I feel like you should roll for this, but I don't know what. Like a survival check? I think a survival check, because this is essential. This has to do with kind of terrain and making it.
Well,
and
that's a 7.
you can have advantage because your friends are helping you, I hope.
That's an
Yeah,
8.
sure.
Great.
Okay.
It definitely doesn't look like the beautiful, pleasure yacht that you got on to begin with.
The masthead is just still, way too sexy.
Exactly. And, in terms of, whether it is properly disguised, you're or whether it just looks like someone tried to make it look less like the ship they stole, you're still a little iffy.
Hey, wait, what does our prow figurehead look like?
Ooh.
It's shirtless Solaris.
I think it looks like
Shirtless Nurgle.
no, neither of those things. It looks like some sort of celestial. It's like a person that has kind of flowing hair and these big angelic wings that kind of go back and then become part of the ship, so that it looks like it's flying ahead of the ship.
Ooh.
Nice.
It's a bit extra, don't you think?
I take my rock on a little tour. I show it the figurehead. Or the prow figure. I show it the bunks and everything down there.
Malachi, exactly what is that?
It's his son!
Is it? Why do you talk to it? Where did you get, what is it? Is that, I mean, I understand that you lay eggs. What is it?
It's... You've seen a rock before, right, Regin?
Well, yeah, but clearly your rock that you're very possessive of.
I didn't make it.
You touch it and you rub its ridges. You didn't make it. That's good.
It's just, I don't know. I think my God, sent it to me, so I carry it around, and I think it's, well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I can sometimes talk to them with it.
What do you mean sent it to you? Like they chucked it at your head, or?
I found it. I don't know. I was lying there, and it was lying underneath me, and I rolled over and I found it.
Huh. Finn, I'm pretty sure it's not his son.
I wasn't like, I don't know, like disrespecting it or anything. I wasn't just like rolling around.
Okay, Reagan's like backing away slowly.
It's not like I didn't like just like stumble over it and like step on it or do anything bad to it. I just found it.
I mean, I'm not like worried about its feelings or anything. You were just laying on top of it as
well. It's not just like some average rock I found in the dirt. It's special.
Okay. Reagan's like, what did I get myself into?
Great. You guys sail through a couple of beautiful days. As you guys get closer to the area that you're actually approaching, can I have all three of you make a history check for me?
19.
Flat 10.
15.
15. Great. So, all three of you kind of know that the area that you're approaching is like an area of quite a few like smaller islands that are all pretty close to each other. A lot of them are sort of like owned kind of like, or you know, have just like one family living on them, or like one, like a couple of buildings on them, stuff like that. It's kind of like a lot of like sort of like wealthy people living out here, as well as like some islands that are more just like abandoned. Nobody lives on them, or there's something dangerous on them, so people don't go there. Finn, you in particular kind of remember Red Feather Island because there's some like stories that people would tell in Gilsbury, or like people who traveled would come through and tell, that the reason it's called that is that there used to be just like a truly enormous bird that lived there. And that people don't think that it lives there anymore, that probably it died out, but it used to have a nest like at the top of this like big like mountain that's on the island. And that sometimes you can still find its giant red feathers lying around, hence the name. So you kind of know a little bit of like the lore of this island, and you know that it is just kind of like one of these many islands that are around here. But you're able to kind of like navigate yourselves there well enough. There are some maps in like the captain's cabin, and so you're able to like make your way to the island. As you guys
Sorry, where is this near? Is this near any other islands that we know?
So it's near, so the general geography, it is like east of Lithios, and a little bit north of Lithios. It is like right around the area where the Western Sea starts to become the Northern Sea, and the waters get a little choppier and it gets a little colder. It's kind of like right around that area, and yeah, so that's kind of generally, but far enough out that it's not in Lithios waters yet.
Okay.
You know that that thing you heard the town crier say, that was not too far from here. So you guys kind of sail up to this island, and you see it kind of like coming up on the horizon. Kind of not very large in diameter, but pretty tall. It is this kind of like craggy, like mountainous type terrain that goes up. As you guys approach, can I have all three of you make a perception check for me?
13.
18.
14.
Okay. With an 18, Regin, you spot, as the ship kind of begins to come closer, you see that there is a rowboat like pulled up on the shore. And you kind of spot, as you guys are starting to get closer, that there are two figures kind of like sitting on the rocks, like at the edge of the water. Just kind of like casually sitting there. You're too far out to like make out much about them, but they look like there's just two people sitting there, not really doing anything.
Malachi?
Yes.
Give Nell a call, would you?
I pull out the cloth and I look at it and I hand it to Finn.
Call Nell, please.
You see that there is a shimmering on the cloth. And Regin, you see some movement from the figures on the shore as Nell's face, like, appears in the middle of the cloth. And they're like, hey, are you guys on the ship that's coming?
Okay, yes, good.
Which ship? Sorry, which ship?
The ship that is, like, way out. Can you see? I'm, like, waving. Can you see that I'm waving? And you, like...
Can I?
Nell sounds
Yeah,
like a
you
soccer
can.
mom.
One of the figures...
I'm waving.
Yeah, okay, I think I see you.
Yeah, I'm right here. Okay, great. Cool. We'll see you in a bit. I have a lot of questions, but I'll see you in a bit.
We always do.
Cool. So,
Question to Hannah. If we take a rowboat, can we shrink the ship and have the rowboat stay big?
you can. If
Okay.
you guys are on the rowboat, you can shrink the ship and have the rowboat stay big.
Lit.
And you also think that you could get off onto the shore and then shrink the ship. Either
Okay.
way. And it'll, like, come back to you. You don't have to, like, swim out and get it.
Oh, that's nice.
I can make it so it comes back.
Search for the ship and the massive.
My contact lens.
Yeah,
Before
exactly.
we shrink the ship, I want to get a bottle of wine.
Great. You grab a
From the
bottle of
ship.
wine. Are you guys going to hop on the rowboat and go to shore?
I figure, why not?
And then shrink the ship? Cool.
Yeah.
So you guys hop on the rowboat, you row to shore.
We should wait to shrink the ship until we're in front of Nell and we can do it like a gotcha.
I don't see how that's a gotcha.
Or, I don't know, a reverse.
They didn't say earlier that we could never shrink a ship. Although, what if we got them to say that?
Then it really would be a gotcha.
So you guys are you get in the rowboat, you row up to the shore. You see the two figures standing there waiting for you. Nell is there. And then the figure standing next to them is a half-orc man who is not familiar to you guys. Looks like around Nell's age, very kind of like a little bit shorter than you guys. But they have like he's got a sword at his side, and clearly like holds himself like someone who like knows what they're doing, and is like a little more on guard than Nell.
When I see him on guard, I get a little on guard.
You row the rowboat up to the shore, and Nell and the half-orc kind of come and help you like pull it up onto the beach, as one does. And Nell's like, hey, guys, what is this ship?
I bet you I can shrink it.
That you can shrink it?
Yeah. You know how all ships can just shrink if you want them to?
No, they can't.
Oh, yeah? Solstice!
You hold out your hand and you say that, Finn, and the ship, like, from the water, like, whoom, like, becomes small, and you are holding the model again in your hand. And,
Gotcha.
Malachi fakes, like, surprise. He's like, oh.
I just make direct eye contact with Nell and uncork the bottle and go, well.
Nell looks taken aback, and they're like, okay, that's very cool. Yeah. And very convenient. Because
this
I was
then?
going to tell you. Oh, this is Alden. And the half-orc, like, sticks out his hand, and he's like, pleased to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. Malachi, you recognize this is the voice of the third person in Dermator, the one who you never saw, the one who was like, we've got to get out of the square.
Right.
And he, like, shakes all three of your hands.
Can I make an opposed strength check?
Sure. I don't have his stat block. Give me a second. Oh my god.
Christ. I got a 2 that came to a 5.
He got a 1 that came to a 4. So it's an extremely weak handshake.
Malachi looks at
That
it
is the
with
limpest
disdain.
handshake I've ever seen.
I'm like looking at it, and they're both just like sitting there like
Their
two
bodies,
dead fish.
Their bodies
Dead
are
fish
so
together.
tense, and their hands are just like.
It's like 2 pieces of wet rope.
Finn, don't look at that.
So not a good impression at all. But he goes and shakes Malachi and Finn's hand. He's like, "Yeah, I've heard a lot about you guys."
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Thanks.
Nell's like, "Okay, cool. So shrinking ship, but you guys are alive and you made it here, which is awesome.
Money, please.
Yeah, you want... So I can pay you right now. So if you want to go back to headquarters, like was the kind of original plan, it's about like a couple hours rowing from here.
Are you coming with?
Yeah, we're all gonna go. I didn't expect you guys to I was gonna tell you to leave your ship here because we generally try not to bring ships, or I thought maybe you'd get dropped off or come on a whale. I was a little unclear. So I was gonna tell you to leave it here.
No.
Yeah?
Should have come on a
Finn.
whale. Sorry.
I was gonna tell you to leave it here, but this is convenient that it can just
Leave
go in
your
your
whale
pocket.
at the dock.
The owner of the whale, you left your lights on.
I just wasn't sure if you guys still wanted to. I feel like
why
our last
wouldn't we?
conversation was a little tense.
I do.
Okay, great.
Gold first, then secondary location.
I want to network with the boss.
Malachi is very uptight this entire time.
Are you referring to this scene or the entirety of this podcast? Because either way.
This scene in particular, he's particularly uptight.
Nell pulls out a hefty bag of gold, and drops it in your palm, Regin. And they're like,
Hold on.
Oh, I bundle that shit immediately. I am Super Bowl running up locked.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You're not actually running though, right?
No, but I'm cradling it like a football.
Okay.
They're like, that's 450,
Ooh.
which is, I believe, is quite enough for the amount of misfortune
You'd
you
be
endured.
surprised to hear what we went through to get this.
I would love to hear what you went through to get
I was
this.
upside down.
Wow. Harrowing.
No, he means literally. He was upside down.
Yeah, harrowing. I don't know what else he'd mean by that. And they're like, okay, let's talk on the way so that we can kind of get started. And you guys hop in the rowboat that they brought over with them and start to kind of head toward Alden, and now kind of take the oars and start steering.
So why this island if we're just immediately leaving?
Because we don't like to bring big ships up to HQ if we don't need to, in case you guys were being tracked or something, or in case, like I said, I didn't know if someone was dropping you off, so in case you were with someone else.
Our ship is stolen, but
And it's not too far from here.
okay.
Stolen from who?
We'll cover that later.
Okay. So anyway, HQ isn't too far from here. We'll be there in a couple hours, and then you can meet the adventurer and we can talk, because I feel like we've kind of got a lot to talk about, and I think there's a lot of things you guys probably want to know, and we'd like to get kind of the full story of what happened on Still Sky, because, like I said, it sounds like there was a lot more going on there than we thought.
Yeah, no, I think we'd all like to sort of know what the full story is.
Okay, sure. They are kind of all three of you, go ahead and make insight checks for me.
7.
Oh, I also rolled a 7, but it goes up to an 11.
I have a 10.
10.
Damn.
Great. None of you pick up on anything, in particular, about the two of them. They seem, I think all of you would kind of notice that Nell is, actually more relaxed than they have been most of the time you guys have seen them, when they've been pretty, in stressful situations or seemed stressed out about something. They're fairly chill right now. you see that Alden is clearly a little bit more like, he doesn't know you guys, he's not quite sure what he thinks about you guys yet, but you can't really get more of a read on him than that. And Nell is kind of distinctly, like, waiting to see if you guys want to, like, tell them the full story now and then tell the adventurer later, or if you want to, like, just kind of, like, make small talk until you actually get to HQ and then talk.
Well, what do you guys think? I mean, you guys know how Malachi feels about this.
I think we should tell our story only once.
Yeah, because...
But if Malachi were to just start interrogating Nell about the stuff Nira told him, I would not at all be surprised.
Yeah. I don't know...
Nell, check out this trophy we won.
The thing is, I don't know Alden at all, so I'm waiting.
Finn pulls out the trophy. Nell is, like, duly impressed. They're like, wow, what was this for?
Baking.
Oh, awesome.
Malachi made some really good muffins, and I helped.
Hell yeah, good for you guys. I'm glad you managed to have time to do that while also, you know, fighting a nightmare or whatever you were fighting.
The dreamer, her child.
Yeah, them.
Does Nell... Can I insight on Nell when I talk about the dreamer?
Yeah, go ahead.
19.
You had already dropped the name of the dreamer with them before, so they kind of, like, were, it is a just kind of, like, yeah, like you said.
Okay.
Distinctly a little bit of kind of, like, yep, she's, like, nasty, like, that is not someone that I really want to be, there is, like, a healthy, like, dose of fear there, but they're not taking it back or especially invested or anything like that.
Cool.
You all sort of, like, make small talk and just kind of row in silence for some amounts.
I don't make any small talk.
Malachi says nothing.
I look at Alden and I'm like, alright, so what's your deal? What's your thing?
My thing?
Yeah, everybody's got a thing.
Yeah, I guess, sure, we've all got things. I work for the association. I've worked for the association for a while.
How long?
He, like, looks over at Nell, and he's like, 3 years? 4 years? Nell and I joined around the same time.
So there was an overlap, Hannah, then, right? Between him and my sister?
Yes. Yes. And he's like, yeah, so, you know, just kind of generally, you know, sailing the seas and keeping people from disturbing ancient watery grave sites and stealing back things from the rich and, you know, as you do.
Bang up job.
Go ahead and make an insight check. Anyone who wants to. I guess Regin asked the question, but...
Reagan's taking this at face value, but
I'll make an insight. Gonna be
I
another
rolled a
19.
Yeah, you take that.
I rolled a 19.
Hey.
2 19s.
Cool. So, yeah, Regin just kind of like, you're like, yeah, okay, sure.
Word. I go back to drinking.
Finn and Malachi, you guys both, like, definitely, like, he's got something else that he considers his main job. But he's saying, so it's not untrue what he's saying, but, like, when he's just kind of like, oh, you know, like, we've all got our things we're doing. I'm just the standard stuff. Like, that's kind of, like, brushing off something else.
He's also an accountant.
And you guys make it, you sail through kind of like pretty clear waters. You can see a bunch of these other small islands dotted around. And Nell and Alden make a beeline for one. That, as you can see, it is a fairly small island. Probably like just like a few acres. But like right kind of like up like several hundred feet from the shore, where you can see there's like a couple of rowboats pulled up on the shore as you guys are approaching. There is a beautiful house. Just like a really like lovely large like mansion. Kind of up like a little bit on a hill, kind of toward the back of the island, or like in the middle of the island, I guess. And you can see as you're approaching that there's like a path that leads up from the beach up to the house. You can see as you get closer that there's like a garden, there's some trees and kind of like groves and stuff like that. You can also see that there is what appears to be like training equipment and stuff like that, like out, like on what amounts to the front lawn. And it basically just looks like this, like, beautiful, like, estate, on this island. And as the rowboat starts to pull up, Nell's like, yeah, so welcome to the headquarters of the Archaeological Artificers Association.
Andy, are you also picturing Professor X's school?
Yeah.
That is what...
I wasn't, but I am now, yeah.
That is what you should be picturing. That's the correct
Wow, I
image.
can't wait to try out the danger room.
But on
Yeah.
a beach? Oh my god, it's
But on
the
the beach.
beach.
Yeah.
It's a bit tacky, don't you think?
Wow, it's like a Marvel swimsuit issue around here.
You guys row up to the beach, and you guys kind of like hop out and pull the boat up onto the beach. It is pretty quiet. There isn't like anybody else down at the beach. You don't see like a ton of people like walking around or anything like that. In fact, you don't see anyone except for one figure who is walking down the path from the house toward you. You see a woman, looks human, maybe in her like 50s maybe. She's very beautiful, has this kind of like casual kind of like elegance to her.
Dr. McTaggart?
And she has this like long silver hair that is sort of like pulled back.
Emma Frost.
Wearing like a tunic and pants, and just kind of like has her hands in her pockets as she's like walking down toward you. And she like walks up as you guys are finishing pulling the boat up on the beach, and she holds out her hand and she's like, pleased to meet you. I am the adventurer. Nell's told me so much about you. And she holds out her hand for you to shake.
Hi, I'm Finn. Nell's told me comparatively little about you.
She laughs and she shakes your hand. And she's like, yes, I try to keep a little bit of like an air of mystique about me when one is the leader of a secret society.
Hannah, I'm sorry I said
You
it.
walked into that one.
I did walk into that one.
She could be. We don't know.
When one is the leader of a secret society, one kind of goes by, titles and things like that. But I'm very pleased to have you all here, and I think we have much to discuss.
I think so. You have a real name?
Of sorts, but my real name isn't important anymore. I prefer to just go by the adventurer.
Do you really adventure?
I did. Now I mostly train other people to do that, but I still, get out on the seas myself from time to time. Come on, let's not keep just standing by the edge of the water.
So Finn's the only one who introduces himself.
Characteristic.
Oh, and these are my henchmen.
An interesting dynamic, but I'm pleased to meet you as well.
I just give a little up nod and I go, I'm the beauty, and then I tilt my head towards Mal and I'm like, and he's the muscle.
That's good.
For hiding behind titles, you can call me Captain Kassir.
Captain Kassir.
That's just your name.
Taylor, make an insight check.
I'm just being a bitch to her at this point. I'm not.
Can I be Captain Kassir too? I changed my mind.
Dirty 20.
Nice. Wow. I just rolled extremely well for all of them. But what that means is that you spot there is a glance exchanged kind of between all three of them as they sort of like all kind of as you say Captain Kassir with like a little bit of a pointed edge to it. And Alden and Nell like distinctly like look at each other, and you see that the adventurer also is kind of like looking at both of them. And she kind of like turns back to the house and she's like, let's go up to the house. Let's talk. I'm very curious to see this cube that you've brought. And I think you might have some questions for me as well.
Lead the way.
The whole group of you, all six of you now, walk back up toward the mansion. You see that there's like a symbol over the door that has like 3 A's like overlaid. And kind of like what looks like water like under it, as if the A's are like rising out of the water or something like that.
I love it.
And you go through the doors into this big, kind of like foyer of the house. Still, like, not very many people around, although it's not totally abandoned. You see that there's a few other people. You see kind of like two people who are like talking to each other and sort of like one of them's carrying like a stack of books as they come out of one room that's off to your left. And they both kind of like look at you guys curiously as you're clearly they have not seen you around. And they sort of like look at you guys a little bit curiously, but not like suspiciously.
Can I make a general intimidation check just to look scary?
To look scary? Sure, yeah.
Nat 20. That comes to a 25.
What a thing to get a nat 20 on. Yeah, you look,
Fucking beast mode.
It's been a couple days on the sea. You've had like a pretty rough few weeks. Your hair is like a little bit wild. You see that they both kind of
they
like
haven't seen us since Still Sky.
they both kind of like give you a wider berth than everybody else. And you notice that even like Alden is like, he doesn't like have his hand on his sword, but he like is like, he could jump into a fight at any moment. And he is like
I laugh
keeping
and
an
I
eye
laugh.
on you in particular.
I keep an eye right back on him.
Great, you guys are both keeping an eye on each other.
I keep an eye on Regin, but also on the adventurer.
Reagan's twitching a bit.
I keep an eye on Nurgle.
Everyone's keeping eyes on each other. Nurgle is keeping an eye on Finn.
Appreciate it, buddy.
The adventurer leads you up like a set of stairs into what is basically like, almost looks like a conference room. There's like a big table in the middle with like a bunch of chairs around it, and even more chairs like at the side of the room. But what immediately catches your attention is that there is an enormous map on one wall of the entire Lunluma Ocean, which is a little bit unusual. You guys know that the further east you get, and the kind of further south you get as well, the more like weird magical effects there are, the more weird storms, the more islands that like the location is kind of hard to pin down, and so maps are kind of hard to come by and not necessarily super useful. And so mostly if you're getting a map, it'll be of just like one localized part of the ocean. But this is kind of like a pretty comprehensive map of the whole thing, and you can see that it's like it's drawn in such a way that like it can be updated and changed and kind of like written on when things happen that make things go a little funky. And you will note that there are also like distinctly things that are marked. So there are like tiny drawings of what look like cubes dotted in kind of like different colors, kind of like in different places around the ocean. And you also notice that there are some like red lines and X's and stuff like that around the kind of like around the area where you are right now, all that kind of like northwestern like corner of the map. And the adventurer kind of settles herself down in a chair at the head of the table and sort of gestures around to the three of you and is like, please, have a seat.
I do not.
I do.
When Finn sits himself down, I nudge Regin and I sit down too.
And Nurgle sits in a chair, too.
Great. Regin continues to stand kind of menacingly behind the two of you. The adventurer, like, looks up at Nell and Alden, and she's like, you two can go. We can connect later.
I think they should stay, actually. I mean, I don't know you.
No, that's fine. They can also stay. That's up to you. Nell and Alden kind of like had started to leave, and then they sort of like come back in and they sort of almost awkwardly like sit down opposite from where you guys are sitting. So you've got the adventurer at the head, and then Finn, Nurgle, Malachi, and then Nell and Alden on the opposite side of the table, and Regin just kind of like standing behind. And the adventurer sort of like looks around and she's like, there's a very tense energy in this room right now.
They're like that a lot.
I say, where?
Did you, so I was told that you had managed to get the cube that was on Still Sky. Do you have it with you?
We do.
Ta-da!
Does Finn still have it, or did he?
I hold it out.
I think Finn was the last person who had it. So Finn, you pull out the little box that it's in, and you open the box up. And the adventurer, like, looks at it, and she kind of looks at you, and she's like, may I?
May you what?
Do you mind if I... Okay. And she just, like, reaches into the box and picks the cube up.
Oh, yeah, why didn't you just say so?
And holds it, and kind of, like, looks at it, and she's like, yep, this is another one, all right. Thank you for bringing this to us.
What's the vibe in her sort of eyes when she lays eyes upon this cube? Is it lust?
Andy, you can make an insight check.
13.
13. She is excited to have it. She doesn't look kind of as, like, absolutely stunned by it as some people who've seen the cubes have, because presumably she's seen others, but she is like, and there's almost like an element of relief to it as well. She's kind of like, okay, good, like I have it, I'm holding it in my hand now.
All right.
And she like sets it down on the table in front of her, and she looks up at the three of you again, and she's like, okay, so tell me about Still Sky. What happened? I heard that the Dreamer was involved somehow.
So there was this big baking competition.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
What?
We won!
We won
Hold out
third
the trophy.
place, not first.
Wow.
I mean, we were on the podium.
Okay. That's good. I'm proud.
Well, when we got there, I don't know how much intel you had on the situation before we arrived, but the whole place was stuck in time. And apparently had been so for about 5 years. And the child of the innkeeper we were staying with seemed to be sort of at the center of it. We figured out pretty quickly, and we were right. Had a very alarming dream in which someone spoke to me about things that I didn't really think were things anybody knew anything about.
And then he woke up totally flaccid.
Oh,
Wow.
my goodness. Finn.
Alden, like, tries to cover it with his hand, but, like, distinctly, like, bursts out laughing.
I
and
glare
Mel
at
kind of, like,
Alden.
elbows him.
I also glare at Alden. This is no laughing matter.
I've never been flaccid in my life.
You should really get that checked out.
It's not a sex thing. I settled down a little bit. But when I woke up, I couldn't use my magic the same. And we followed this child to a creepy place in the woods, and we were all...
That makes us sound creepier than we were. We were not being creepy in following the child.
No, we met
was.
one citizen on the island who wasn't affected by the kid's mind magic. And they brought us to this place in the woods where the kid was speaking into our minds and making us see things that didn't exist. And she ended up being a hag daughter of the Dreamer, who made us play a game with her to get the cube. And a lot of other stuff happened, but we got it. Child disappeared. Dreamer made some vague promises, and we left.
So you, like, spoke to her.
Well, Malachi loses a little bit of his stoic, like, angry demeanor or his whatever. Well, the Dreamer wasn't there at first, actually. It was just the child. Actually, no, the Dreamer didn't come at all, but we did speak to the Dreamer after I asked her to come and talk to us.
You asked her to come and talk to you. Clever. That's a smart way to get... Yeah, because of course, naturally, she's like a little bit kind of like excited and impressed by this. She's like, naturally, you had no idea what you were dealing with and no idea kind of like the situation. And so you managed to get more information. I mean, without it, we might not have even known who we were dealing with. So I think...
I'm like, he's surprised at first, but he like kind of starts preening a little bit, then stops himself. Yeah, I mean, I did want to know what we were dealing with, but didn't really do us much good.
Right. Well, sometimes you take a risk and it doesn't pay off.
Yeah, certainly.
So you fought with the child, and then the child hag disappeared.
Well, when we were fighting it, it wasn't a child; it was just a hag. We weren't beating up a little,
of course,
kid.
No, that's good to know.
Regin like snorts into the mouthful of wine. Yeah, sure, Mel.
Yeah, hey, you were the one threatening to punch a child, not me.
Did you see any... She like holds up a hand. She's like, did you see any... did you get a sense of where the child had come from? How she got onto the island?
She came out of a well.
Oh, yeah.
Out of a well.
Sort of a reverse Lassie situation.
Some sort of fey enchantment situation going on.
Yes, yeah, all right. Yeah, that does check out. Curious, although... And you said stuck in time?
I'm sorry, check out how?
Of course. The Dreamer, as far as what we know, the Dreamer was an entity from out in the aberrant sea, some sort of aberrant entity, extraplanar, very kind of weird and otherworldly, that somehow got stuck in the Feywild. Do you know much about the Feywild?
I mutely shake my head.
It's another plane that's sort of a mirror to this one. It looks much like ours, but everything's the magic is a little heightened. It's inhabited almost entirely by fey creatures who can be very tricky. So there's a lot of illusions, a lot of things that aren't quite what they seem, a lot of tricks to contend with when you're there. And this entity either got itself trapped there or decided to settle there and sort of grew and morphed into something else, something even more powerful, and mostly just exists in the Feywild as far as we knew. That was why I say stuck. We had sort of thought that she was not able to leave the Feywild, but perhaps she's experimenting with sending creatures or children or creations or what have you to the material plane, and if she can't come herself.
I would like to roll either, I don't know, insight or perception or something. You said that the adventurer looked human. Mm-hmm. I would like to investigate that.
Yeah, you can make... I will let you choose insight or perception.
Well, either way, that's a 5.
She definitely... I mean, she's, like, very, like, lovely and self-assured. She's very, like, clearly a very kind of charismatic person, but she doesn't strike you as anything other than human. She says, so she's very mysterious. We don't know a lot about her. And this is just sort of, I mean, it's half folklore, half academic writings, half personal experience. But she's not an entity we know a lot about. But it's troubling to hear that there's I have to assume that well leads to the Feywild somehow.
Oh, it certainly felt like it. So,
a little troubling to have that kind of in such a populated area. But hopefully, if you took out the threat that was in the town at that time, perhaps it'll be safe for the moment. But definitely something to keep an eye on.
While she's talking about the Dreamer, I want to pull out that book that I stole from the treehouse.
Yeah.
I did take this from the hags.
Oh my goodness. She holds her hand out for it.
I tentatively give it to her.
She, like, opens it up and starts kind of, like, flipping through it. And you see she kind of, like, mutters like a couple of arcane kind of like magical words over it, and is kind of like clearly like paging through it, and sort of like narrows her eyes a little bit, and she's like, oh, this is very interesting. Oh. And she like looks up at Nell, and she's like, definitely like a little bit of like ramblings of a madman kind of feelings to it. She's talking about dreaming and making her own reality. It's it all kind of checks out with what we've known. And Nell kind of like, Nell nods in that way that you nod when you're like, you know, like when your boss is saying something and you're like agreeing with them and also trying to like convey like, yes, I'm totally with it. I know what you're saying. And she sort of like looks and she's like, yeah, this is very good to have. And I think I definitely need to study this more. We might be able to get a little bit more of a sense of what her plans are.
Well, that's going to be, about, let's say 100 gold for that.
Sure. That's fine if that's what you're after. And you see, like, Alden kind of, like, sits up a little straighter and clearly, like, does not necessarily approve of this.
Oh my god, he is the accountant.
But the adventurer is very much just kind of, like, waves her hand. She's like, yes, we can, that's fine.
I'm gonna be pacing this whole time, and now I'm just gonna go stand right behind Alden and like rest my arm on his chair, just be standing there, intimidatingly with a 25.
I will let that nat 20 continue to carry over. He does not like that you're standing there. The adventurer sort of like, kind of like sets the book aside for now and looks over at the three of you, and she's like, all right, so what I mostly wanted to... I was eager to speak to the three of you, because we are... How can I put this? The association is not in the best spot right now. Our numbers are low, as you can tell by the mostly empty house.
A curious thing, that.
Yes, and we need more people who are resourceful and skillful and able to do the sorts of things that we're trying to accomplish here. And I know that you had already managed to help us get your hands on some of these cubes. Nell has spoken very highly of you. And so if you were willing to continue to work more closely with the association, if you wanted to become full members, as it were, rather than, like, contractors, I wanted to make that offer to you. And if you are willing to throw your lot in with us, as it were, there are more things that I would want to tell you. I think the Maelstrom cult, which you had encountered back when you first were at the resort, a little bit more of what we know about the cubes, what little it is.
I do have many questions about that.
What's the hazing like?
Alden, like, looks kind of, like, up at you, still standing behind his chair, and he's like, it's actually pretty awesome. There's a, like, big challenge you have to do where you fight things and do magical challenges and stuff like that.
I love doing magic.
Uh-oh. Is there a third thing?
Don't worry, Regin. I can do yours for you.
You don't...
Just so you know, this cube was sold to somebody else before we got it back, in between Still Sky and now.
Nell had mentioned that you were late coming. I had expected you to come back from Dermator with the three of them, and you weren't there.
Where is Shiloh, anyways?
She's in the workshop.
She's fine.
Doing some tinkering things. She's good.
I mean, you must know you're not the only one after the cubes.
Oh, believe me. She laughs, and she's like, believe me, I know I'm not the only one after the cubes.
Are you familiar with the wizard Solaris?
I know of his reputation.
Oh shit, I didn't realize he was famous. I thought he was just some guy.
Some guy. Well, he had put a bounty out on our cube specifically, tipped someone off that we might be in possession of a cube, and the cube was taken from us, sold to him, we stole it back.
Okay. Well?
But he knows that he was robbed, and he is actively looking for the people who did it, so...
But he doesn't know that we took the cube.
Okay.
We hope.
He just knows that I also robbed other stuff.
Oh. Well...
Someone couldn't keep his hands in his pockets.
All right.
You told me to.
I didn't tell you anything, Regin.
Regin said you wanted me to take it.
Regin lied. And Regin just finishes the bottle.
The adventurer, like, rubs her forehead, and she's like, okay, so that's fine. We're fairly safe here. There's many different kinds of magical cloaking on this island.
Safe from outsiders, certainly, right?
Yes. What are you implying?
Oh, I'm not.
He's implying that the danger comes from within.
The nature of the work itself.
That is...
I lean over to Nurgle and I'm like, he was definitely implying something, right?
Nurgle goes, ah!
I mean, this is going to be dangerous work, of course.
Oh.
More dangerous, probably, than we've already faced as contractors.
I give Alden a little thwack on the peck, and I'm like, yeah, you're dangerous, aren't you?
Okay, you leave your flirting for later, Regin.
No, Lonnie, make me another insight.
Regin, you'd better put a ring on it.
That comes to a 16.
Okay. He is
Not an accountant.
not an accountant. But also, like, he doesn't necessarily like you, and he does think you're scary, but you don't, like, phase him that much. I think you can tell from just, like, the way he reacts to kind of, like, and you almost, like, you feel the muscle when you, like, hit him, and you're kind of like, okay, this guy does know what he's doing,
dangerous.
actually. He is dangerous. It's kind of the little takeaway you get from that. And the adventurer looks at you, Malachi, and then kind of looks to Finn and Regin and says, yes, it will be dangerous. And I wouldn't ask you to undertake something like this without having an understanding. You've done enough for us. If you wanted to walk away, I mean, we will answer the questions about the things you've encountered. You can stay here, recover from your journey, whatever you need, but then if you want to walk away, no one will blame you. But otherwise, if you'd like to understand the true purpose of the association and see if perhaps our goals continue to align, then I would like to lay the offer that I have for you on the table. And I think that's where we will end our session for tonight. As 6 incredibly shady people sit around a table. Well, 5 incredibly shady people like Finn sit around
Thank
a table.
you. And one incredibly shady gull.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for listening to Ship of Fools. You can find us for more of our amazing content on our social medias. You can find us at Ship of Fools Cast on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. And hey, you can also check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/shipoffools. We have lots of cool
Guys, we are...
bonus content.
Yeah, we have that. I'm just saying, we're so close to our goal, and you can help us make our first goal, and you will
So
get a special
close.
reward.
So close to our first goal.
It's a sexy reward, too, so, like...
Very special reward.
I hate that.
Your eternal reward. What's that from Aladdin? As you were.
Yeah, also, hey, if you like the show, please leave us a review telling people that you like the show. Tell your friends about it. Tell them to listen. That'd be great. Thank you so much to the people who help make our show happen. Thank you to Lucas Mangold for our beautiful theme music. As always, you can find him for all your music needs at lucascarlmusic@gmail.com. That's...
Carl with a K.
Gotta drag it out because last
Ooh.
time we got skipped.
Wow. This is the remix.
All right.
Yeah, if you guys wanted to press the plus 15 seconds button on that one, I understand.
Thank you also to Theo
Boo.
Golden for our logo art. You can find him at tgoldenart on Instagram. And then you can catch us with our next episode on April 27th,
So true.
where we finally get some answers, maybe. Some exposition, perhaps.
Who's to say?
Who can say?
I mean, you can, can't you?
Handle, try your damnedest.
I can say, but I won't. Instead, I will just say, we will see you on the open seas.
Ba-da-da-da-da.
Bye-bye.
Bye.